parallel worlds. Space-time tunnel and 20 parallel worlds. In reality, they are collective worlds as they are not entirely parallel, but intersect and are independent of each other. Xiefeng, May 24, 2006. The dense network of time throughout the universe, composed of positive and negative time, is called a time tunnel. The channels that connect the 36 spaces from 1 to 36 dimensions are called space tunnels. Time tunnels always run vertically, and space tunnels always run horizontally. To travel to the past or the future, one must use the time tunnel. To access the 36 spaces from 1 to 36 dimensions, one must use the space tunnel. Time and space are interlaced, interlacing 20 quadrants. We already know that time has positive and negative, and space also has positive and negative. From the perspective of positive time and positive space, there is only one quadrant, that is, the first quadrant in the plane coordinate system. When we consider negative time and negative space, there are 4 quadrants. These 4 quadrants are composed of real numbers, that is, xy, 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 xy. When we enter the non-material world, we find that there is an imaginary number I. Replace I with z, and it forms a 3-dimensional coordinate system with xy. This 3-dimensional coordinate system has 20 quadrants, namely xyz, 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 xc, 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 yz, 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 xy, 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 xy. This means that there are 20 worlds in the entire universe. These 20 worlds can be called 20 collective worlds because they coexist in the universe at the same time. Among these 20 collective worlds, the world where we humans live is the XY world. The so-called ghost world is the XY world. The world where gods and Buddhas live is the XYZ world. The world where demons live is the XYZ world. The 1,000-year world is in the XYZ world. The 10,000-year world is in the XYZ world. And the Seychelles Islands continent is in the XYZ world. When our thinking and spirituality are only limited to the material world, we can't see the other 19 worlds at all. When we only recognize the verticality of time and don't know that time also has horizontality, we are only in the plane coordinate system and only know that there are 4 quadrants. When we look at the world with Buddha eye, we will see that imaginary number I, that imaginary number axis that passes through the O point. People who have drawn blueprints or understand blueprints know that any 3-dimensional object is composed of points and lines in the top view, left view, right view, bottom view, and sectional view. To see the whole picture of the object, you must look at it from the top, bottom, left, and right, and form a 3-dimensional image in your brain. The term imaginary number was created by the famous 17th century mathematician Descartes. At the turn of the 17th and 18th centuries, Germany's most important mathematician, physicist, and philosopher Leibniz described imaginary numbers as follows. Imaginary numbers are the wonderful and strange hiding places of the gods. They are almost amphibious creatures that both exist and do not exist. When we look at the plane coordinate system, we can't see that imaginary number axis at all. Where is the imaginary number axis? The imaginary number axis is between our eyes and the O point of the coordinate system. Why can't we see it? It's like the point projected by a chopstick standing vertically under the light, or to explain it this way, when a chopstick is perpendicular to the line of sight, we only see the point of the chopstick head and can't see the whole picture of the chopstick. We can't see the point of the imaginary number axis either, because it is attached to the other points we see, just like a soul possessing a body. Where is the greatest creator? The greatest creator is in the zero world. Where is the zero world? The zero world is that O point in the coordinate system. Whether it's the x-axis, y-axis, or z-axis, they all pass through that O point. All 20 collective worlds are connected to the O point, so the greatest creator exists in all 20 worlds at the same time. Without the greatest creator, any world will cease to exist. Why should we walk the way of the greatest creator? Because only by going through the greatest creator can we reach any other space. Without going through the greatest creator, we can only go around in a certain world and never reach other worlds. We are now in the XY world. The XY world is the world we live in. For us, the other 19 worlds are all illusory. Of course, These illusory worlds are not illusory. The reason we think they are illusory is that our vision, hearing, taste, smell, and touch can't perceive them. Our spiritual sense is not open. Our thinking is limited. If our spiritual sense is open, our thinking has reached the corresponding height. We can see the other 19 worlds. We can know that the illusory is not illusory, emptiness is form. When I say the non-material world, I mean the other 19 worlds outside the XY world. Life Changyuan sets the future of Chanyuan celestials to the XYZ world of the Celestial Islands continent, because this is the most wonderful place. I just want to guide everyone to this wonderful place. How to get there? First, we must have a comprehensive understanding and comprehension of Chanyuan corpus and Siefeng corpus, and actively participate in the construction of Life Changyuan. The core content is to fully understand the 8 levels of thinking and the 8 mysteries of life. Every condition is indispensable. To go from XY to XYZ, we must use the time tunnel and the space tunnel, mainly the space tunnel, because we are not going back to the past, we are going to the future. From XY to XYZ, although it is parallel movement, there is a process in between. Although this process is short, there is time after all, so we must also enter the time tunnel. This is a very short time tunnel in horizontal time. We mainly enter the space tunnel and enter the Celestial Islands continent through the space tunnel. When do we enter the space tunnel? Perhaps it has not yet been realized by everyone, but from the moment you became a Chanyuan celestial, you have already entered the space tunnel leading to the Celestial Islands continent. Although your physical body is still in the XY world, your spirit body has already followed the tour guide on a tour in the space tunnel, and we have already set off. Qinnian Jie, the 1,000-year world, by Siefeng. The location, size, and process of entering the 1,000-year world. Starting from the Earth, it takes us about 16 minutes time, the negative universe speed, about 960 light-years, to reach the 1,000-year world. Its size is about 10 times that of the Earth. At the moment when the flesh body dies and human consciousness disappears, another consciousness is born. Suddenly you will have the feeling of weightlessness, or floating. In fact, you are now in the space tunnel where you don't have fear. Instead, you have the pleasant, easy, and wonderful feelings. You see no object, just the beams of color lines running backward. When you are about to reach the 1,000-year world, you can dimly see there is a colorful bridge in the distance. At the moment when you see the colorful bridge, you will lose your consciousness again and fall into the sleep. When you regain your consciousness, you will first hear attractive celestial music. You open your eyes and find yourself lying in the arms of fairy with the kindly people cheering around you. They are celebrating your birth, which means you are in the 1,000-year world. The geography in the 1,000-year world. There are 5 continuous ridges in the 1,000-year world with their height above 10,000 meters. There are more than 8,800 independent mounts with their height between 3,000 and 6,000 meters. There are 10 large rivers flowing into the vast and flat lake, which is greatly fertile. In this vast and flat lake, there are almost 100,000 islands. There are no deserts, Gobi deserts, or seas. Everywhere you can see the mountain streams, falls, and lakes. Climate and plants. The light in the 1,000-year world comes from the distant planets. There is no sun, no day and night difference, or no shadow. The temperature is almost stable. The sky is blue dotted with clouds, which change colors when floating and produce rich imaginations. There is no rainfall, snowfall, thunder, or lightning. There is often the cloud and mist with mild temperature. There are numerous types of plants, including the straight pine trees, standing several hundred meters, and the yellowwood with the tree crown covering a football court. The trees are everywhere on the mountains, islands, plains, and canyons. They are not dense but green all the year. The flowers are blossoming all the time. A certain kind of flower can keep changing its color and give out different fragrance. The plants in the 1,000-year world grow very slowly. It takes a leaf 3 years, Earth time, to grow up into its normal size. It takes a pear 10 years to be mature. The life longevity of all animals and plants are 10 times of that of the animals and plants on the Earth. The average human life longevity is 100 years on the Earth, the average figure considering the future. However, the people in the 1,000-year world will live 1,000 years in average. That's why it is called the 1,000-year world. Animals and insects. There are hundreds of thousands of types of lands, air, aquatic, and ground insects in the thousand-year world. But there is no meat-eating animal or reptile there. So you can never see the lions, wolves, or foxes, nor can you see the snakes or the lizards. The grass-eating animals have poor fertility. Of the insects, there are no fly, mosquito, bug, flea, or centipede. The food chain is different from that on the earth. The most brutal is the bird that eats the worms. 3. Human society structure and life. The people in the thousand-year world mainly include 1. The local people, 2. The law violators from the 10,000-year world, and 3. The earth people who have boasted perfect human nature after self-refinery and self-improvement. The thousand-year world has no class society, no wealth gap, no concept of nations, no competition, no conflict, no war, no theft or robbery. However, there is a management class there. There is no modern industry, agriculture, or livestock. There is no city or rural area. But there are numerous games here. The only work is to build the roads, boats, and houses, raise the silkworms, weave the cloth, and make the clothing. Because there is no rainfall, snowfall, cold weather, hot weather, day or night, the house structure is different from that on the earth. The people saw the wood with the rope made of a plant fiber. The wood of the houses is soft and easy to process. The roof is made by the large leaves of a solid plant. The wall is made of the dense red salix. The yard in front of the house is made by the unique flowers, grass, and stones of all forms. The clothing is woven with very thin dyed silk. People wear this kind of light woven clothing, showing the celestial nature. The people living in the thousand-year world don't eat meat. Their main food is the fruit, melon, and half-mature cereal. Their drinks are made of the tea-like leaves soaked in the water together with honey. There are all year-round fruits and melons here. Because the total population is less than 200 million, 90% of the fruits and melons are eaten by the animals, birds, and insects. The people in the thousand-year world do not get married. So there is no clan or family here. They live in a society similar to the maternal society in some nations on the earth. People love each other quite randomly. They don't have frequent sex life as the earth people do. People only have 3 or 4 heat periods in a year. The women have low fertility and only have 1 or 2 kids in their life. Few women will have 3 kids. The labor of the men is mainly to build roads, houses, and boats, while the women mainly look after the kids, raise the silkworms, and weave the silk and cloth. 4. Ideology and values. Because they have the different objective existence from that on the earth, the people have different perceptions, feeling, thinking, and other psychological activities from those on the earth. They don't have class, oppression, exploitation, wealth gap, political factions, religions, or struggling. The mentality of the people is in constant peace. There is no such thing as the morals on the earth, no sense of factional conflicts or getting the upper hand. Everything is natural and instinctive. There is no jealousy. There is no need to run a plant, shop, restaurant, or hotel. The greatest fun of the people is to attend the collective work followed by games and tourism. The supreme law is to avoid private ownership or waste. For instance, if you love a woman and want to take her, hinder her freedom, and prevent her from having affairs with other men, you are violating the law. If you eat half of a pear and throw away the left half, you are wasting and violating the law. The biggest punishment for the violation is to prevent you from the collective work. The final retribution is that you will be downgraded to the mortal world after you live and die 1,000 years later. You will begin your sufferings in the new cycle of life as an earth person. 5 others. There is no congenital disease, infectious disease, or the disease caused by the food or labor. There is no psycho disease caused by the tight human relationship or supply shortage. The people only die from the old age, not for any other reasons. There is no air crash, no traffic accident, no snake biting, shark attacking, no fighting, and no falling down the cliff. They reach their adolescent period when they are 100 years old. The youth lasts from 100 and ends at over 700. The self-refinery period lasts between 700 years till death. It is also the period when they begin to participate in the management of the thousand-year world. People in the thousand-year world know about the earth and its people. 6. Conclusion. The thousand-year world is one with truth, goodness, and beauty. It is a world of love, peace, happiness, and the upgraded human nature. Undoubtedly, anyone with perfect human nature can go there because there is no quota. 千年借一瞥, a glance at the thousand-year world. 写评, translated by Transin and edited by Care. Mount Butterfly in the Lotus Mountains is breezy and shrouded in mist with wind that soughs through the pines. Flowers spread across the mountainside and vie with each other for glamour. Down to the foot of the mountain, orchards and fields grow aromatic fruits where a clear stream meanders through Cuckoo Valley, past Grace River, and finally joins Ripple Lake. 39 celestials, 22 females, 15 males, and 2 children reside under Mount Butterfly. Not far away, Sakura Island is inhabited by another group of celestials. Crossing over Fragrant Hill and walking along Sesame Slope for about 30 miles, Lush Highland will be found, home to more than 200 celestials. Approximately 300 celestials in total live in these 3 places within 200 miles of each other. Today, after Jade woke up, she dressed in a light blue skirt made of transparent silk and walked out of her house. High in the azure, birds soared over the clouds and silver waterfalls fell from the green of Mount Butterfly in a symphony of nature. In the forecourt, flowers were in bloom, the fullest of which were peach blossoms. Their pink petals were arranged in layers, 18 beige stamens stretched out from the center where bees searched for nectar. Along the stone path and through several rockeries, Jade came to the mulberry garden while holding a willow basket. She was surrounded immediately by a huang and lotus. You must have enjoyed a good sleep last night. Was your lover good? The two joked and chuckled. Jade tried to catch a huang in mock irritation, but the two ran away, so she chased after them. The 3 fairies chased one another while laughing in the garden until Jade caught Lotus and gently pinched on her peachy cheeks. They pinched each other's bodies in fun. A huang kissed Jade's cheek in chaos and asked naughtily, "Is this how your lover kissed you?" The kissed one held a huang in her arms and answered with more kisses on her red lips, "That's it." Having played enough, they began plucking mulberry leaves and returned when the basket was full. Jade